The weather's too hot, isn't it? During this hot season, we crave some refreshing drinks like bukulamau. But we couldn't have bukulamau without a coconut palm tree. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Janaldon V. Garcia, and today I will discuss coconut production practices with you. Coconut or Cocos nucifera is endearingly called Calfa brexia, which means tree of heaven or tree of life. Since every part of the tree is useful to human life, it is mainly used for food, fuel, cosmetics, folk medicine, welding materials, and many more purposes. In terms of coconut production, our country, the Philippines, ranks second after Indonesia. As you observe, most of the countries that top coconut production are tropics countries, since coconut requires temperatures of 20 to 32 degrees Celsius. It also prefers sandy loam, alluvial, laterite, and coastal sandy well-drained soil. Next is the site collection, which plays a major role in producing coconuts. Soil with a minimum depth of 1.2 to 1.5 meter and good water holding capacity should be selected for coconut cultivation. Soils with underlying hard rock or soils with water logging and poor drainage should be avoided. Clayey soils are not suitable for coconut production. Let's move on to land preparation. In any farming, size of the pit depends on the soil type and water table of the soil. In loamy soils, pits with size of 1 by 1 by 1 meter should be dug and filled with topsoil to the height of 40 to 50 centimeters. In laterite soils, large pits are recommended and pit size of 1.2 by 1.2 by 1.2 meter should be dug and filled with loose soil, well-rotten farmyard manure like cow dung and ash up to a depth of 55 to 60 centimeters before planting. In sandy soils, pit size of 0.75 by 0.75 by 0.75 meter should be dug. This time, let's delve to spacing and system of planting coconut. First is triangle system. In this system, coconut trees are planted in a triangular pattern, with each tree forming the apex of an equilateral triangle. The spacing in this pattern is approximately 7.6 meters between trees along the rows and between rows and can manage up to 198 plants per hectare. This layout maximizes land utilization and allows for better sunlight exposure and airflow, promoting healthier tree growth. Next is square planting system, where coconut trees are arranged in rows and columns, forming a grid-like pattern. The spacing between trees is uniform in both the rows and columns, usually ranging from 7.6 to 9 meters and can administer 120 to 179 coconut trees per hectare. This method is straightforward and easy to manage, but it may not utilize land space as efficiently as triangular planting. Single hedge planting involves planting coconut trees in a single row, typically along the contour of the land. The spacing between trees in a single hedge is 6.5 meters in rows and 9 meters between rows and can manage 220 coconut trees per hectare. This method is suitable for areas where land is limited for where intercropping with other crops is desired. Double hedge planting. In a double hedge planting system, coconut trees are planted into two parallel rows, with space left between the rows for intercropping or access. The spacing between the double rows is 9 meters and within the rows is 6.5 meters. This spacing allows for efficient land utilization while providing opportunities for diversification through intercropping. Now, let's move on to planting of coconut trees, which is divided into three: the propagation, the time of planting, and the caring of young palms. Propagation, which is done through seeds. Next, the time of planting. Seedlings can be transplanted in the beginning of the southwest monsoon. If irrigation facilities are available, it is advisable to take up planting at least a month before the onset of the monsoon, so that the seedlings get well established before heavy rains. Planting can also be taken up before the onset of the northeast monsoon, in low-lying areas subject to inundation during monsoon period. Transplanting may be done after the cessation of the monsoon. Next is the care of young palms. The transplanted seedlings should be shaded and irrigated adequately during summer months. So shaded means like tagaan o pandong, like from the word shade, nice shadows. And also provide staking so that winds may not uproot the young seedlings. Shading is a must to transplanted seedlings. At this point of time, let's move on to the nutrient and water requirements of coconut. The regular manuring and chemical fertilizers should be carried from the first year of plantation for proper vegetative growth, early flowering, and fruit bearing. The first application of inorganic fertilizers should be carried after 3 months of coconut plantation. On the other hand, coconut palms requires 200 to 250 liters of water once in 4 days under basin irrigation conditions, whereas in summer, 40 to 45 liters of water per palm per week will increase the yield. In case of water problem, one should go for drip irrigation. The quantity of water recommended for drip irrigation is 66% of the open pan evaporation. However, irrigating the palms depends on the soil type and climatic conditions. Pest and disease management of coconut. So these are the major pests affecting coconut palms. First is the rhinoceros beetle, or in Bisaya, bakukang. This beetle damages coconut palms by feeding on their tender tissues, leading to wilting and eventually death of the affected warts. Next is the red palm weevil. It is another devastating pest that attacks coconut palms by boring into the trunk and feeding on the tender tissues, leading to wilting and eventual death of the tree. So, red palm weevil is mararapod siyang bakukang pero lahi iyang color. Next, we have the coconut mites. These are the microscopic pests feed on coconut palm leaves, causing them to become distorted, discolored, and stunted. We also have the black-headed caterpillar. From the word black-headed, so it means iyang head is color black. It is a pest that feeds on the young leaves of coconut trees, causing extensive defoliation if left unchecked. Now, let's move on to the major diseases. Started with lethal yellowing disease. This disease is caused by phytoplasma and affects coconut palms by causing premature nut drop, yellowing and necrosis of leaves, and eventually death of the tree. Next, we have the bud rot, a fungal disease that affects the growing point of coconut palms, causing wilting, rotting, and eventual death of the bud. We also have the leaf blight. It is affect coconut plants by causing brown lesions on the leaves, which can lead to defoliation and reduced growth. So leaf blight is kanang ang dahon sa lubi kay magyelo or mabrown. We also have the crown shocking disease. It refers to a condition in coconut trees where the crown of the tree appears stunted, yellowed, or distorted. This can be caused by various factors including fungal infections, nutritional deficiencies, or environmental stressors. Now, to control those pests and diseases, we have different strategies or techniques. First is the cultural practices, such as regular cleaning of the area around coconut palms to remove debris and potential breeding grounds for pests. Next, we have the biological control, the use of other organisms like natural predators or parasites of pests, such as ladybugs or predatory mites to control pest populations. Next is the chemical control. It is applying pesticides and fungicides as necessary, following recommended dosage and timing. We also have the integrated pest management, or known as IPM. In this technique, we need to adapt a holistic approach that combines various control methods to minimize reliance on chemical pesticide. Now let's move on to harvesting. Coconut palms will be ready for harvesting in about 1 year after the opening of the spot. The frequency of harvesting depends on the yield of the palms. Harvesting coconuts typically involves climbing the tree or using specialized tools like long-handled harvesting pools with cutting blades or hooks to detach the fruit. The ripe coconuts are then carefully dropped or lowered to the ground. It's important to ensure safety and minimize damage to both the coconuts and the tree during the process. Next, we have the post-harvesting handling. After harvesting, coconuts undergo post-harvesting handling to preserve their quality and extend their shelf life. This includes, first, we have cleaning. Coconuts are cleaned to remove any dirt or debris from the outer husk. Husking. The outer husk is removed, revealing the hard shell of the coconut, or in Bisaya, mao ni ang magbunot. Dehusking. The hard shell is cracked, open to access the white coconut meat and the coconut water inside. So, muna siya ang magbuka ka sa lubi. Next, we have the washing. The coconut meat and water are washed to remove any remaining husk fibers or impurities. Followed by drying. In some cases, the coconut meat may be dried to reduce moisture content and extend shelf life. So, muna siya ang ibuwad na ang kopras nga nakuha. Next, we have the packaging. Coconuts are packaged for transportation and sale. This may involve placing them in mesh bags or other containers to prevent damage used during transition. And lastly, we have storage. Coconuts are stored in cool, dry place to prevent spoilage. Depending on the intended use, they may be stored whole or processed into coconut milk, oil, or other products. Now let's move on to the sustainable practices. Intercropping coconut with other crops is a common practice to optimize land use and increase agricultural productivity. Some crops that are compatible with coconut cultivation and intercropping systems include: first, we have the banana. Banana plants can be grown between coconut trees, utilizing the space effectively and providing additional income. Second, we have pineapple. Pineapple plants thrive in the inter-row spaces of coconut plantations as they require similar soil and climatic conditions. Next, we have legumes. Leguminous crops like beans, peas, or ground nuts can fix nitrogen in the soil, benefiting both the coconut trees and the intercrop crops. Fourth, we have the root crops like cassava, sweet potato, and yams are suitable intercrops as they grow well in the shade provided by coconut trees and can be harvested without disturbing the coconut palms. And lastly, we have the spices. In conclusion, effective coconut production practices require a comprehensive approach that encompasses several key aspects, such as site collection, land preparation, planting and maintenance, pest and disease management, harvesting and post-harvest handling, and sustainability. By integrating these production practices, coconut farmers can optimize yield, minimize risk, and contribute to the sustainable development of the coconut industry. That's all for today. Thank you for listening. Always remember that life is like a coconut tree. Just climb it. Once again, this is Jen Alvin V. Garcia, a BSAB1 student, now signing off.